The steady beep of scanning equipment filled the small research lab aboard the Earth exploration vessel Horizon. Lieutenant Alex Reed leaned closer to the monitor, dark circles under his eyes betraying 3 sleepless nights. The uncharted planet below, designated LV-428, showed biosignatures unlike anything recorded in the galactic database. "Computer, run the scan again," Alex ordered, rubbing his tired eyes. "Confirmed. Biosignatures remain consistent with previous scans. Species classification: unknown," the ship's AI responded. Alex's heart raced. After 5 years mapping the outer rim, this could be his discovery, a truly new life form. The mission commander had granted him a small window for surface exploration. Just 12 hours. It would have to be enough. The landing craft touched down in a valley surrounded by twisted trees with blue-green leaves. Alex stepped out, helmet sensors immediately cataloging atmospheric components. The air was breathable, barely. He kept his helmet on as a precaution. "Beginning exploration route," he reported into his comm, heading northeast toward the biosignature cluster. The valley's floor was covered in soft, moss-like growth that cushioned his steps. Small flying creatures scattered at his approach, their 6 wings humming as they vanished into the canopy. Alex recorded everything, but his focus remained on the stronger reading ahead. 3 hours into his expedition, the scanner led him to a rocky outcropping near a small stream. The signal was strongest here, yet nothing unusual appeared visible. Alex began a methodical search, moving rocks and scanning the ground beneath fallen vegetation. A low sound, something between a growl and a whimper, froze him in place. Behind a large boulder, partially hidden by strange hanging vines, lay a creature unlike anything in Alex's years of xenobiology training. It was the size of a large earth tiger, but with no fur. Its skin shifted colors, currently matching the rocky ground beneath it. 6 limbs ended in razor-sharp claws, and what appeared to be spines ran down its back. Most striking were its eyes, large, intelligent, and currently fixed on Alex with unmistakable awareness. The creature was injured. A deep gash ran along its side, leaking a thick blue fluid. Alex's training was clear. Unknown, potentially dangerous species required immediate reporting and containment protocols. If deemed hazardous, termination was standard procedure. But something in those eyes made him pause. The creature made no move to attack despite Alex's proximity. Instead, it seemed to study him with equal curiosity. Alex slowly reached for his scanner. The readings matched descriptions in old reports of the legendary nebula stalker, a species believed responsible for hunting 3 advanced civilizations to extinction. The last confirmed sighting was over 200 years ago, after which they were thought extinct themselves. "Impossible," Alex whispered. The Galactic Council had classified the nebula stalkers as the most lethal predators known to exist. Stories told of their ability to outthink prey, adapt to any environment, and show no mercy. Yet the injured creature before him showed no aggression. Against every protocol, Alex reached into his pack and removed his medical kit. "I must be insane," he muttered, slowly approaching the wounded predator. "If you understand me at all, I'm trying to help." The creature's spines flattened slightly. Its color shifted again, taking on a calmer blue tone. It remained perfectly still as Alex approached. With trembling hands, Alex began cleaning the wound. The creature flinched once, but made no aggressive move. As Alex applied a regenerative gel to the injury, he noticed strange markings along the creature's hide, patterns too regular to be natural. "You're not just an animal, are you?" Alex whispered. The creature's eyes blinked slowly. It extended one limb slightly, touching the ground between them and making a series of marks in the dirt. Alex's breath caught. The marks weren't random. They formed a simple pattern, a circle with 3 lines crossing it. This wasn't just a predator. This was a sentient being trying to communicate. Alex knew that moment would change everything. The mission, his career, perhaps even humanity's place in the galaxy. Rather than fear, he felt wonder. "Hello," he said simply. "My name is Alex." Getting the creature aboard the Horizon without detection had required all of Alex's ingenuity. He'd falsified research samples, disabled security cameras, and used his emergency medical override to access the rarely used Quarantine Lab B. The small space, designed for containing dangerous pathogens, would have to serve as a temporary home. "This breaks at least 15 protocols," Alex muttered as he secured the door behind them. The creature, which Alex had started mentally calling Shade due to its color-shifting abilities, seemed to understand the need for secrecy. It moved silently across the room, its 6 limbs distributing its weight so perfectly that it barely disturbed the air. Alex set up monitoring equipment, careful to keep the data isolated from the ship's main systems. The last thing he needed was Captain Morgan discovering an unauthorized apex predator aboard his vessel. Computer, enable private research protocol. Authorization read Alpha 7. Private protocol engage. All records will remain isolated from main database. The lab's AI responded. For 3 days, Alex divided his time between regular duties and secret observations of Shade. The creature's wound healed with remarkable speed. Within 48 hours, only a faint line remained where the deep gash had been. Its intelligence became increasingly obvious as it explored the lab, examining equipment with careful touches and watching Alex with unnerving focus. On the 4th day, Shade began making more deliberate marks. Using its claws, it scratched patterns into the metal floor, circles, lines, and eventually what appeared to be crude representations of objects in the room. "You're trying to communicate," Alex realized aloud. He brought in a simple tablet and demonstrated drawing. Shade watched intently, then took the stylus in one claw with surprising dexterity. Its first attempts were clumsy, but within hours it was creating recognizable symbols. By the end of the week, they had established basic communication. Shade could identify objects, express simple needs, and seemed to understand much of what Alex said. The ship's AI helped analyze the patterns, creating a rudimentary translation system. "Your species, feared," Shade conveyed through a combination of drawn symbols and gestures the AI interpreted. "Last, alone." "You're the last of your kind?" Alex asked, feeling a pang of sadness. Shade's skin darkened to a deep blue, a color Alex had come to associate with sorrow or reflection. "Hunted, misunderstood." Alex had been researching the old reports about the Nebula Stalkers. According to Galactic Council records, they had appeared suddenly 3 centuries ago, decimating 3 civilizations before disappearing. But the records were sketchy, based largely on survivor accounts and distant observations. The attacks on those civilizations, Alex began carefully, did your kind. The lab door hissed open without warning. Captain Morgan stood in the doorway, security officers flanking him with weapons drawn. "Lieutenant Reed," the captain said coldly. "Care to explain why my security chief detected unauthorized life signs in this lab?" Alex moved instinctively between the officers and Shade. "Captain, it's not what you think." "It's exactly what I think," Morgan cut him off. "You've brought aboard the most dangerous predator in known space, a creature responsible for billions of deaths." Behind Alex, Shade remained perfectly still, its color now matching the lab wall so completely it was nearly invisible. "Sir, the records are wrong," Alex insisted. "Shade is intelligent, peaceful unless threatened. I've been communicating with it for days." Morgan's face hardened. "You named it. Have you lost your mind, Lieutenant? That thing could slaughter this entire crew in their sleep. If that were true, why hasn't it harmed me? I've been alone with it for a week." The captain hesitated, his eyes narrowing as he studied the nearly invisible outline of Shade. "You have exactly 1 minute to convince me not to space that monster," Morgan said. "And if you fail, you'll be facing court-martial for endangering this ship." Alex took a deep breath. Everything depended on what he said next. Shade's life, his career, and perhaps the truth about an entire misunderstood species. "Sir," he began carefully, "I believe we're about to make the greatest scientific breakthrough since first contact. And I can prove it." 30 days. Captain Morgan had finally agreed after hours of heated debate in the ship's conference room. "You have 30 days to prove this creature isn't a threat, or I follow protocol and terminate it." Alex knew this was the best deal he would get. The security footage he'd shown, of Shade carefully helping him organize lab samples, rather than attacking when his back was turned, had created just enough doubt in the captain's mind. "Thank you, sir," Alex had said, relief washing over him. Now, 7 days into the 30-day period, Alex sat cross-legged on the floor of the expanded containment area they'd set up. Shade mirrored his posture across from him, its 6 limbs folded in an oddly elegant arrangement. "Again," Alex prompted, holding up a holographic image of a star system. Shade extended a limb and drew a series of symbols that the translation program interpreted. Home. Lost. Long ago. The creature's communication skills had improved dramatically. The ship's linguist, Dr. Peddle, one of the few crew members Morgan had allowed to know about Shade, theorized that the species had natural mimicry abilities that extended to language. "How many of your kind were there?" Alex asked. Shade's skin rippled with dark blue patterns. "Many once. Families, cities beneath oceans, and in mountain caves." This contradicted everything in the official records, which portrayed the Nebula Stalkers as nomadic hunters who lived only to kill. "What happened to them?" Shade's movements became more agitated, its color shifting rapidly through patterns of red and black. "They came with weapons. Said we were monsters. We tried to speak. They wouldn't listen." Alex leaned forward. "The Galactic Council." "Yes. We defended. They called it aggression. Each defense made them hunt us more." The story was becoming clearer each day. Shade's species had evolved as apex predators, but had developed intelligence and a complex society. Their fearsome reputation came from misunderstanding and fear, escalated by the Council's aggressive first contact approach. "Your people only fought when attacked?" Alex asked. "Yes, not hunters of thinking beings. Only defense." Alex remembered the old records of the supposedly extinct civilizations. "What about the Traxians, the Valori, and the Kel?" "The records say your kind wiped them out." Shade's skin pulsed with a new pattern, concentric circles of golden light that Alex hadn't seen before. "Not destroyed. Helped them hide from Council." "They feared Council too. Still exist. Secret places." Alex felt his breath catch. If true, this would rewrite galactic history. 3 civilizations believed extinct for centuries, secretly surviving with the help of the very predators blamed for their destruction. Before Alex could ask more questions, the ship's alert system blared. "All hands to emergency stations," Captain Morgan's voice announced. "Life support failure in Sector 7. This is not a drill." Alex jumped to his feet. Sector 7 contained the ship's hydroponics gardens, their main oxygen supply while in deep space. "I have to go," he told Shade. "Stay here." He rushed toward the door, but as it opened, a massive explosion rocked the ship. The lights flickered, and emergency sirens wailed louder. Alex was thrown against the wall, pain shooting through his shoulder, as something heavy pinned him down. Through blurry vision, he saw Shade move with incredible speed, leaping across the room. Instead of escaping through the open door, the creature carefully lifted the fallen equipment off Alex. "Danger," Shade communicated, its skin pulsing with urgent red patterns. "Smell bad air. Fire spreads." Alex struggled to his feet, coughing as smoke began filling the corridor. "We need to reach the emergency systems." Without hesitation, Shade moved beside him, supporting his injured body with 2 of its limbs. Together, they navigated the smoke-filled hallway toward the environmental control room. They encountered 3 crew members along the way, all initially recoiling in terror at the sight of Shade. But when the creature helped free an engineer trapped under fallen debris, Their fear turned to confused gratitude. In the control room, Alex found the oxygen recyclers damaged beyond his ability to repair. He turned to Shade, desperation in his eyes. "Can you help?" Shade studied the systems for only moments before extending 4 limbs simultaneously, manipulating controls with stunning precision. Its skin changed to reflect the machinery's patterns, almost as if it was communicating with the technology itself. Gradually, the alarms quieted as oxygen levels stabilized. Captain Morgan arrived with security, freezing at the doorway as he witnessed Shade working alongside his crew to save the ship. "I think," the captain said slowly, watching Shade gently help an injured crew member, "we need to reconsider some things." The mood aboard the Horizon had shifted. After Shade helped save the ship during the oxygen recycler failure, many crew members began to view the creature differently. Some even brought small offerings of food or interesting objects to its quarters. Captain Morgan had reluctantly upgraded Shade's status from contained threat to protected research subject. For Alex, it felt like vindication. He and Shade spent hours each day expanding their communication, learning about each other's worlds. The creature's intelligence and gentle nature continued to contradict every official record about its species, but not everyone was convinced. "You've got 2 weeks left in your agreement with the captain," First Officer Jenkins reminded Alex one morning in the mess hall. Her expression remained cold. "Don't think one helpful incident changes the nature of a predator." Alex wanted to argue, but he recognized the deep-seated fear in her eyes. Some beliefs were too ingrained to be easily changed. What neither Alex nor Shade knew was that Jenkins had already taken action. 3 days earlier, she had sent an encrypted message to Galactic Enforcement Division headquarters, reporting the presence of a live nebula stalker on board. The response came swiftly. Alex was recording Shade's explanation of its species' underwater communication methods when the ship's proximity alarms blared. "Unidentified vessel approaching at high speed," announced the ship's eye, refusing communication attempts. Captain Morgan's voice cut through on the intercom. "All hands to battle stations. This is not a drill." Alex's communicator pinged with an urgent private message from the captain. "Read, secure your research subject immediately. We have incoming GED enforcement." His blood ran cold. The Galactic Enforcement Division was the military arm of the Council, known for shooting first and asking questions never. If they knew about Shade, "We have to move," Alex told Shade urgently. "People are coming who want to hurt you." Shade's skin rippled with understanding. The hunters. They had barely secured the lab when the ship shuddered violently. Docking clamps engaged against the Horizon's hull, a forced boarding. Alex's communicator crackled. "Lieutenant Reed." The voice was unfamiliar, cold, and precise. "This is Commander Vex of the GED Enforcement Vessel Judgment. Your first officer has informed us of the Class A biological threat you're harboring. Surrender it immediately." Before Alex could respond, Captain Morgan cut in on the channel. "This is a research vessel under Earth jurisdiction, Commander. You have no authority to board without." The sound of weapons fire interrupted him. "Your protests are noted, Captain," Commander Vex replied. "But Council Security Directive 147 grants me full authority when a nebula stalker is involved. My teams are already aboard. Anyone interfering will be detained." Alex looked at Shade, whose skin had gone completely black, a color he'd never seen before. "They will destroy me," Shade communicated, "and all I know dies with me." Alex made his decision in an instant. "Not if I can help it. Come on." They slipped from the lab through a maintenance tunnel Alex had mapped as a precaution. Behind them, they could hear the heavy footsteps of GED troopers searching deck by deck. "We need to reach the shuttle bay," Alex whispered as they crouched in a storage compartment. "It's our only chance to escape." Shade touched Alex's arm gently. "Why risk for me?" The simple question caught Alex off guard. "Because you're my friend," he answered, surprised by how true it felt. And because the galaxy needs to know the truth about your kind. They were halfway to the shuttle bay when they ran into Jenkins and two GED troopers in a narrow corridor. "There," she shouted, raising her weapon. The troopers fired immediately, energy bolts scorching the wall where Shade had been a split second earlier. With blinding speed, the creature leaped to the ceiling, then down behind the troopers. Alex expected violence. It would have been justified self-defense. Instead, Shade simply knocked the weapons from their hands with precise strikes, then bounded past them without causing injury. "It could have killed us," one trooper gasped, staring after Shade in shock. "But it didn't," Alex pointed out as he hurried past. They reached the shuttle bay just ahead of the main GED force. As Alex prepped the small craft for launch, Shade accessed the ship's communication array. "What are you doing?" Alex asked. Shade's skin flickered with determination. "Telling truth, showing them." On screens throughout both ships and across nearby space stations, footage began playing, recordings of Shade helping the crew, communicating peacefully, and most importantly, choosing not to harm those who had just tried to kill it. As their shuttle blasted away from the horizon, Alex knew they had just become the galaxy's most wanted fugitives. But for the first time, they weren't alone in their fight. The abandoned mining colony on asteroid LB-119 wasn't much to look at, but it offered what Alex and Shade needed most: anonymity. 3 weeks had passed since their narrow escape from the horizon. They had jumped through 7 different star systems, swapped vessels twice, and narrowly avoided GED patrols more times than Alex cared to count. Another day without being shot at, Alex remarked as he returned to their makeshift shelter with supplies scavenged from the colony's old storage units. "I'd call that a win." Shade's skin rippled with what Alex now recognized as amusement, a pattern of light blue waves flowing across its surface. The creature had become more expressive with each passing day, its communication skills developing at a remarkable rate. The small room they occupied had once been an administrator's office. Now it served as both living quarters and research base. The walls were covered with maps, historical documents, and information pieced together from public databases during their brief stops at remote outposts. "Look at this pattern," Alex said, pointing to a chart showing the supposed Nebula Stalker attacks. Every incident happened within 2 months of a new mining operation being established in the region. Shade moved closer, examining the data with intelligent eyes. Not coincidence, it communicated through the translator they'd stolen from the horizon. "Pattern shows purpose." Alex nodded. "Exactly. Someone wanted those worlds. Someone benefited from blaming your species." While Shade continued studying the charts, Alex activated an old terminal he'd repaired. Most of the colony's data had been wiped, but fragments remained in backup systems. He'd been slowly piecing them together. "Wait," he said suddenly, his fingers freezing over the keyboard. "I think I found something." The screen displayed a corrupted file header. Nova Minerals Corporation. Classified. Operation Kulins. This colony was owned by Nova Minerals. Alex explained to Shade. "They're one of the largest resource extraction companies in the galaxy." As Alex worked to restore the damaged file, Shade's skin darkened with concern. Nova. This name. The creature made a series of marks that the translator initially failed to interpret. "Try again," Alex urged. "Nova ships. At home world. Before hunters came." A chill ran down Alex's spine as the file finally opened. What he saw confirmed his worst suspicions. Operation Cleans was a corporate initiative to create resource acquisition opportunities by engineering conflicts that would drive native species from valuable planets. "They framed your kind," Alex whispered in horror. "They staged attacks, blamed your species, then triggered the Council's extermination protocol." Shade's reaction was immediate and visceral. Its entire body pulsed with deep crimson rage. The documents revealed more. The supposedly extinct civilizations, the Traxians, Valori and Kel, hadn't been wiped out at all. Nova Minerals had fabricated evidence of their destruction to cover mass relocations and resource seizures. Some members of those species had escaped with the help of Shade's kind, hiding in remote sectors to avoid Nova's influence. "We need to find them," Alex said. "The survivors. They can testify." A warning light flashed on their security scanner. A ship was approaching the asteroid. Alex quickly gathered their most crucial evidence. "We need to move. Now." They slipped through the colony's maintenance tunnels, heading for their hidden shuttle. Just as they reached the docking bay, the facility's old speakers crackled to life. "Lieutenant Reed." The cold voice of Commander Vex echoed through the empty corridors. "We know you're here. The fugitive creature with you is too dangerous to remain at large. Surrender now, and I guarantee your safety." Alex glanced at Shade, seeing not a monster but a friend who had saved his life multiple times. "I'm not leaving you," he said firmly. Shade's skin shifted to a pattern Alex had never seen before, intricate gold and silver lines forming what looked almost like writing. The translator struggled before offering. "Trust. Together. Find truth." As GED forces breached the main entrance, Alex and Shade slipped into their shuttle and launched from the far side of the asteroid. Through the view screen, they watched as Commander Vex's forces swarmed the facility they'd just abandoned. "They'll find what we discovered," Alex said. "They'll know the truth about Nova Minerals now." Shade touched the screen with one limb, leaving a deliberate pattern that needed no translation. It was a simple promise. Justice. "We're not running anymore," Alex decided, setting course for the outer colonies. "It's time to build an alliance." The small hologram of Dr. Ellis flickered in the dimly lit cargo hold of their latest vessel, a battered transport ship they'd purchased with the last of Alex's emergency credits. The renowned xenoanthropologist's face remained neutral as she studied the evidence Alex had transmitted. "These allegations against Nova Minerals are significant," she said finally. "And you claim to have one of the Nebula Stalkers with you. Alive." Alex glanced at Shade, who stood just outside the hologram's viewing range. "Yes, and Nebula Stalker is a name created to inspire fear. They call themselves the Vereth, and they're a peaceful, highly intelligent species." Dr. Ellis sighed. "Lieutenant Reed, I studied supposed monster species for 40 years. I want to believe you, but the Council has classified the Vereth as extinction-level threats." "That's why we need your help," Alex insisted. "You have the scientific credibility and Council connections we lack." Shade moved forward, deliberately entering the hologram's field. Dr. Ellis gasped, instinctively stepping back despite being light years away. "May I speak?" Shade asked through the translator, its skin shifting to a respectful pattern of deep purple. Dr. Ellis's scientific curiosity overcame her initial fear. "Yes." What followed was a 20-minute exchange that Alex knew would change everything. Shade explained Vereth cultural structures, their history, and their peaceful coexistence with other species before the Nova Minerals conspiracy. The creature answered Ellis's increasingly specific questions with patience and clarity that no mere animal could have managed. "Remarkable," Dr. Ellis whispered finally. "Meet me at the coordinates I'm sending. And Lieutenant, watch your back. If what you've discovered is true, Nova won't stop until you're silenced." The transmission ended, leaving Alex and Shade in momentary silence. "One ally gained," Shade communicated. "Need more?" Alex nodded. "Ellis is just the beginning." Over the next 2 weeks, they expanded their network carefully. An independent journalist who specialized in corporate misconduct, a retired GED officer who had questioned the original Vereth classification, representatives from fringe settlements who claimed to have had peaceful contact with surviving members of the supposedly extinct civilizations. Each new ally brought resources and connections. The journalist provided secure communication channels. The GED veteran offered tactical advice and patrol schedules. The settlers provided safe harbors, and most importantly, contact with hidden enclaves of Traxians and Valori who had survived with Vereth help. Their small resistance grew, operating in the shadows of space stations and on forgotten moons. Word spread through carefully encrypted channels about the true nature of the Verith and the corporate conspiracy behind their vilification. Then came the breakthrough they hadn't dared hope for. Alex was reviewing security protocols when their ship's proximity alert sounded. A GED enforcement vessel had dropped out of hyperspace barely a kilometer away, far too close to escape. "We've been found," Alex said grimly, reaching for the emergency beacon that would warn their allies. The communication screen activated before he could touch it. Commander Vex's face appeared, his expression unreadable. "Lieutenant Reed," he said, "lower your shields." Alex tensed. "Why would I do that?" "Because I'm coming aboard. Alone." Something in Vex's tone had changed. "I've reviewed your evidence. All of it. It could be a trap." Alex whispered to Shade. The creature studied the commander's image, its sensory abilities detecting nuances Alex couldn't perceive. Truth in his voice, caution still wise. With shields partially lowered, they allowed Vex to dock a small shuttle. The commander entered unarmed, his hands visible. "I spent my career hunting what I was told were monsters," Vex said, looking directly at Shade. "2 days ago, I witnessed one of your kind save a family of settlers during our raid on their outpost. It could have killed my troops. Instead, it led the civilians to safety, then disappeared." Alex watched Vex carefully. "And that changed your mind?" "It made me question. Then I followed the money trail in the Nova Minerals files you left behind." Vex's expression hardened. "My entire division has been receiving supplemental funding from Nova shell companies for decades. Will you help us?" Alex asked. "The Galactic Summit begins in 3 days," Vex replied. "Every major power will be represented. If you want to tell your story, that's where it needs to happen." Shade moved forward, its skin displaying a complex pattern that the translator interpreted simply. "Ready." As they prepared for the most dangerous mission yet, Alex realized how far they had come. What had begun as one human's compassion for an injured creature had grown into a movement that could reshape the galaxy's understanding of an entire species. "Nova knows what we're planning," Vex warned. "They'll stop at nothing to silence us before we reach the summit." Alex placed his hand on Shade's shoulder. "Then they'll have to go through both of us." The Galactic Summit's grand chamber buzzed with tension. Representatives from 200 worlds sat in rising tiers around a central speaking platform. Security forces lined the walls, their weapons visible and ready. News drones hovered near the ceiling, broadcasting to billions across the galaxy. Alex stood backstage, heart pounding. Their journey to this moment had been fraught with danger. Just yesterday, their transport had been attacked by Nova Minerals mercenaries. Only Commander Vex's escort fleet had ensured their survival. "Ready?" Dr. Ellis asked, adjusting the formal diplomatic attire she'd insisted Alex wear. "As ready as I'll ever be," he replied, glancing at Shade beside him. The creature's skin rippled with calm determination, a steady pattern of deep blue with silver highlights. In the days leading to the summit, Shade had practiced restraining its natural color shifting to appear less threatening. Now it maintained a dignified blue tone that Ellis had suggested would be perceived as peaceful. "Remember," Vex said quietly, "he'll have exactly 15 minutes before the council chairperson can call for a vote. Make them count." The chamber doors opened. A hush fell over the assembly as Alex walked onto the platform, with Shade moving gracefully beside him. Gasps and cries of alarm rose from the gathered representatives. Several security officers raised their weapons. "Please remain calm," Alex said, his voice amplified throughout the chamber. "What you've been told about this species is wrong." The council chairperson, an elderly Cerulean, leaned forward. "Lieutenant Reed, bringing this creature here violates 17 security protocols. Explain yourself immediately." Alex straightened his shoulders. "Distinguished representatives, I stand before you with a member of the species you know as Nebula Stalkers. They call themselves the Verith. For 3 centuries, they have been hunted to near extinction based on lies. With a nod to Dr. Ellis at the control panel, Alex triggered the evidence presentation. Holographic displays appeared throughout the chamber, showing the Nova Minerals documents, comparison analyses of actual Vereth behavior versus reported incidents, and testimony from Traxian and Valori survivors who had been protected by the Vereth. Nova Minerals Corporation fabricated attacks and blamed them on the Vereth to gain control of resource-rich worlds. Alex explained, "The species you believed extinct, the Traxians, Valori, and Kel, were not destroyed by the Vereth, but relocated with their help to escape Nova's expansion." Murmurs spread through the chamber as representatives reviewed the evidence on their personal screens. "These are serious accusations," the chairperson said. "Do you have proof beyond documents that could be forged?" This was the moment they had prepared for. Shade stepped forward and addressed the assembly directly, its translated words appearing on screens throughout the chamber. "I speak for those who cannot," Shade began. "My kind evolved as predators, yes, but we learned the value of peace, of cooperation. We built cities beneath oceans and within mountains. We developed art, science, philosophy. When Nova came with weapons, we defended. When they blamed us for atrocities, we had no voice to deny them." The chamber had grown utterly silent, hundreds of representatives transfixed by the articulate words of a creature they had believed to be a mindless killer. "If you require proof beyond words," Shade continued, "I offer this. If we were the monsters of your nightmares, how many in this room would already be dead?" The logic was undeniable. A predator with Shade's abilities could have caused havoc before being stopped. Suddenly, a sharp crack echoed through the chamber. A hidden sniper's shot struck the platform near Alex's feet. Security forces scrambled as more shots followed. Without hesitation, Shade moved with blinding speed, its body changing to a reflective silver as it intercepted a shot aimed directly at the council chairperson. The creature winced but remained standing, protecting the elderly Xyrillian with its own body. "Secure the chamber," Vex shouted, leading his team toward the source of the shots. "It's Nova's assassins." The chaos lasted only minutes before Vex's forces captured the attackers, mercenaries carrying Nova Minerals identification. But those minutes changed everything. The entire galaxy had witnessed a monster risking its life to save council members. When order was restored, the chairperson approached Shade and Alex at the center of the chamber. "In 300 years," the elderly Xyrillian said, voice trembling slightly, "no evidence has been as compelling as what I witnessed today." Turning to address the assembly, the chairperson continued, "I call for an immediate vote on reclassification of the Vereth species and investigation into Nova Minerals Corporation." The vote was unanimous. 3 months later, Alex stood on the shores of a vast ocean on the newly established Vereth sanctuary world. Beside him, Shade watched as a transport ship descended through the clouds, carrying the first group of Vereth survivors found in hidden pockets across the galaxy. "The Reed Protocol has been implemented across all Council worlds," Alex said, reading from his official notification. "No species shall be deemed dangerous without direct communication and understanding." Shade's skin glowed with patterns of joy, vibrant golds and greens swirling across its surface. "One friendship," the creature communicated, touching Alex's shoulder gently, "changed everything." As they watched more Vereth emerge from the transport, Alex reflected on how far they had come from that first meeting in a remote valley. One moment of compassion instead of fear had revealed the truth behind centuries of misunderstanding. "Not the end," Shade observed, looking toward the horizon. "Beginning." Alex nodded. Their work was just starting. Somewhere across the stars, other misunderstood species awaited discovery. Other wrongs needed righting. But today, watching the Vereth reunite under peaceful skies was enough.